A small town roots where the stories run deep. Amador County secrets we keep. Kandi and Garrett bringing the talk. Who, what, where every Sunday we rock. From schools and teams to the county fair. New biz, old roots, dandelion days in the air. Leaders and local stories that wow. Real Talk Sundays. Tune in now.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Kandi Thompson
and Garrett Gray.
So guys, in our Getting to Know Amador County series, we are so excited with how this is going right now. So as you can see, last week, you just saw that we interviewed the two candidates running for supervisor District 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Jamie Labenko and Brian Onetto. And through that process, you can tell that the sheriff's department is kind of getting thrown under the bus a little bit, right? On one side or the other. And so I always feel like, let's hear it from the horse's mouth, right? So we invited.
Not calling you a horse, I promise.
Trust me, I'll take it.
We invited our very own Sheriff Gary Redman here with us to kind of set the record straight. So welcome, Gary.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, we're so excited that you would be even willing to come and sit with us. But there's a lot of misinformation out there right now. And it's funny, I saw you on the supervisors meeting and I thought that was great. The information was so clear and I thought we need to share this with more people. Not that not a lot of people watch the supervisors meetings, but they don't. And so we thought if this could be something that we could get out there, at least you can set the record straight on exactly what your budget looks like. And so nobody's wondering or thinking there's not a negative shadow being cast on you.
Yeah. No, I truly appreciate it. I looked at that Tuesday, and I think we had the most people we've ever had at a supervisor's budget hearing. And I was actually really glad to see that, because I did try to take the opportunity to really just educate people, because like you said, there's a lot of misinformation about really what our budget looks like, how much money do we actually draw from the general fund, where our spending goes, is it excessive, is it exorbitant? So all those things kind of came into play.
No, and I appreciate that, because I know in Amador County, we're very, very grateful for our law enforcement. We're in a safe community. We're a small, safe community who, don't forget, we're attached to Stockton. So it may not be so safe, but if you guys were watching the interview that we recently did with City Manager Cameron Begbie from Plymouth, he said when he was a police officer in the city of Stockton, they used to say you come here in Amador County on vacation and you leave on probation.
Right.
I loved that. I thought, well, that's right. So don't anybody try to come here that's going to get into trouble, right? Come here, just don't get in trouble.
Exactly. We've got the time and the resources that these large metropolitan agencies don't have to solve crimes. And I'm so thankful for my staff. I'm so thankful for the detectives. Everybody. This is a complete team effort at the agency to make sure that we solve as many crimes as we possibly can, and they do.
They do. And one thing that's my most favorite that you guys are doing now, you're posting, and so is the DA's office, posting when these criminals are getting convicted. That's never happened before. We always wonder, I wonder what happened to that guy, and now we're seeing it.
Come out, right?
Yes.
And I think it's great with the DA's office, and I think Caitlin, the second in command over there, she is phenomenal work with, super bright. So I think that's kind of something that's coming from her, working with Todd, which is great. I'll tell you right now, I'm constantly on my folks for get that out there. Get that out there. People want to see that we're not just driving around.
Well, it's the action,
drinking coffee.
Yeah.
They want to see are we where today I think they drink energy drinks.
Right.
Oh gosh, right. Yeah.
But they want to see that we're actually working. We're actually out there. We're patrolling. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is providing public safety. And that's being proactive, and that's taking people to jail. That's our job.
It is, Well, and
no matter how long they stay, right?
Exactly.
That's right. But you see things even the whole situation that happened in Ione with the murder and this guy running rampant around, and he sits in the police, the jail for almost 2 years. And so everybody wonders like what goes on, but to see those things come out and to see what you guys do, I love that. When you're pulling someone over because you were suspecting something and then you pull out all the loot out of their, it's like, this is awesome. So we're very grateful for you.
you.
I know I speak on behalf of the entire community when I say that.
And we feel it.
Yeah.
We truly appreciate it. You know, I think we're, you know, really embedded in the community. We do a lot of community functions.
Yes.
But also my staff goes above and beyond, as they should, because we are a small community and that's expected of us. And I expect that from them. So
Yeah. No,
and part
it's
of it
awesome.
is the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of it is providing them with the essential equipment, the
Right.
best equipment that I could possibly afford,
Mm-hmm.
the best training, the, you know, vehicles. All this comes into play to make them successful, because then they will go out and they will take care of this community
Right.
to the highest standards.
Well, yeah.
And we
Right.
see that every day, and that's the hard part
I love that.
to get across to some people.
It is.
No, definitely. And prices have only gone up. Things have only got more expensive,
Mhm.
right? And to provide someone that's going out there and actually trying to serve the community, right? Even in the military, you can probably say it too. It's like when we go across seas, they make sure that we're paid right, because if not, what happens? Other things come in. Next thing you know, you're giving intel, da da da, so on and so forth, right? So it's like if you're able to bring your hometown security net and make sure they're provided for well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go out there and do the job that they're supposed to do,
Exactly.
instead of just having that, oh, you have heart.
Yeah.
You're really in for the heart of it, right?
Yeah.
The heart can only go so far every
It-
once in a while, right? And
yeah.
if you feel good that you're being looked after and well cared for
Yeah,
as an
yeah.
individual that's out there day in and day out, it's only going to pay its ends 10 times over, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and that's where I come into the sheriff, is to fight for that, to champion that, hold my people accountable, which they respect that. They know
Right,
exactly
right.
where the boundaries are. They know when they step out of line, they're going to get the smackdown, because we don't tolerate that. But at the same time, to really, really support them. That's all they want. That's all they want. And really, that's all they want from the Board of Supervisors, is they don't expect these, you know, big raises or all this money thrown this way.
Right.
They understand we are a small county. We
Right.
only have so much money in the pot.
Yeah.
They just want to feel like that the Board of Supervisors also supports them.
Right. And that you're valued. And not only that, but post COVID and post Black Lives Matter, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but like that whole thing, the way that officers were treated, I was speechless. Like, I mean, just because it's all over the media. Like you're
Yeah.
watching this
Well,
happen
you're
all
talking
over the
about also
media.
like heavier areas, man. That I mean, you're getting into a very bigger crowd of in law enforcement that, I mean, sometimes maybe they're not acting the right ways, right? And they've had a bad run in or so on and so forth, right? But again, it doesn't give you the right to act the way you were acting in that matter,
Yeah.
right? But I don't mean out here, I didn't see much of that, because we know our law enforcement is acting and doing the right things that they're supposed to be
Well,
doing.
no, they are, but I think what that created was almost an acceptance on how you can treat law enforcement.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's unacceptable. So to me, it became scarier to be a law enforcement officer. It's going to cost you more now to actually keep your law enforcement officers, because now there's like a leveled up level of risk, I feel like, out there that there wasn't as much before. And maybe that's just me just watching and seeing, but I thought, man, it can't be easy
No,
to
it's-
get law enforcement officers.
It's definitely become much more violent with assaults on staff. You
Mm-hmm.
know, most of our assaults on staff occur in our custodial setting.
Wow.
They are involved with way more fights than our deputies are. And our deputies do get in altercations.
Yeah.
But the custodial setting, because of the mental health issues that we're dealing with these inmates, and it's just gotten so much more violent. But when assaults do occur out on the street, they are violent. And I have a saying: every new hire that comes in, I tell them, here's the deal. I took a lot of people to jail. I was very, very proactive, sometimes kicking and screaming. But I never, ever came in and started anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not a punching bag.
Right.
True.
Right.
You will
True.
end it.
Yeah.
I can support that. I will defend you every time. You start it, you're on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bottom line.
No, it makes sense. And so, with all of that, like obviously there's an expense to having a sheriff's department.
There is. We're expensive.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. We take up about 40% of the general fund budget. That's a huge chunk. So this coming fiscal year, we're at just about 23 million and a half. Pushing almost 24 million. That's a big expense.
Yeah.
But the biggest expense is our people.
Right.
these
Right.
salaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've gotten COLAs over the years. We have to pay them. We've got to pay them a market, at least
Right.
close to a
Right.
market rate. Otherwise, we won't have any deputies
Right.
here.
We're
True.
too
True.
close to other counties that'll pay
We're
more.
way too close to all these
Mm-hmm.
surrounding counties, even Calaveras. You know, people make fun of Calaveras sometimes. I lived here for 18
Yeah.
years, but they only have one incorporated city.
Right.
So there's a huge difference when you have
Mm.
5 incorporated city versus one.
Mm.
You know, their sheriff makes more money than I do.
Wow.
I don't complain about that. I think I make a great wage, but once again, the board of supervisors sets my wage along
Right.
with everybody else.
Right.
So everything, if you're complaining about the wages and how much money we make, well, the board of supervisors sets that. They're the ones that negotiate, but we have to be at least in the ballpark of competitive.
Right.
No, of
We're not.
course.
We're not. So with that, I come up with all these other ideas and programs and things that I can do that really isn't that monetary. It doesn't affect the general fund. That will retain and attract people here. And we've just been this like training ground for years and years.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, at one point, it wasn't that long ago, we were down over 10 deputies.
Wow.
When you have 54, that's huge.
Right.
That's big. Our correctional
Yeah.
staff is still down quite a bit. So it's coming up with all these different things that, you know, I'm going to have to spend some money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I know where to get the money. I know how to obtain the money without affecting the general fund. Just allow me to do it. Allow me to do my job. I was
Right.
elected
Right.
sheriff
Right,
of Amador
right.
County. The people trusted me to run this agency, to serve the public. Just let me do my job.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything. Doesn't mean you can't question me.
Mhm.
You can't come, you know, hey, what about this? You know,
Mhm.
can we do this?
Mhm.
That's perfectly okay. But when you have this hard no, where I'm just not going to support the sheriff's office, that is a problem.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, that definitely would. And that's so interesting in this community too, just because everybody is, I mean, I feel like it comes from the sheriff's department though. Like there's so much pride in the sheriff's department. I mean, every time you see a sheriff, there's like they really, you can tell they enjoy what
Well,
they're
it was
doing,
back in the
right?
day. We knew all of them, and
Yeah.
again, we're getting back to that to where it's like
We are.
we know everybody, right?
Mhm.
It's not like we're trying to outsource from out of town and
Mhm.
coming in here. And I wouldn't say
Mhm.
muddying the waters because they're just going rampant, but they're getting back to hey, I know John, Jill, Ryan,
Mhm.
Jack, Ben,
Mhm.
right, and I know they're doing the right job instead of we have this out of like 16 out of town sheriffs that have
Mhm.
nothing to do with the community,
Yeah.
don't want to go out and do stuff, don't want to present themselves
Yeah.
in a positive light.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just different, but when like I'm saying my family been here for fucking 4 generations. Excuse me, for 4 generations, right?
I'm surprised I didn't drop an F-bomb yet. So
It every
you're
half general
good.
spot. But for 4 generations, right? Like it was. Oh yeah, we knew the sheriff down the road,
Yeah.
around the corner. He said, "Hey, am I calling your parents or are you calling your parents?"
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But we're gonna also put it in place to where you know you did something wrong.
Right.
And
Right.
it's funny you said that. You know, when I was out working the road, I worked the road for here over a decade. And I loved it. We would do that with kids. We're
Right.
like, you know what? I'm not going to ruin your life,
Right.
but
right.
I'm going to let your parent
That's
Ruin
so
your
life.
funny. Yeah, which is way
We
worse.
I make that
lived
phone
for
call.
a lot of years.
Hey, this is Sergeant so and so or Deputy so and so. Guess what? I got your kids.
That's
Come get them.
so funny.
Right.
And you know, they would beg me, no, please, please.
That's yep. Yo, please
'Cause
take me in.
I was the same way when I was a kid. I was like, don't
Yeah.
call my dad.
Don't call my dad. Exactly.
That's hilarious. Okay, well let's talk about the budget.
Let's talk
So
about it.
23.5 million. So 40% of what our general fund is in Amador County.
Correct.
Which is, and how many departments do we pay out of that general fund? Do you know off the top of your head?
So all the county departments, when you're looking at assessors, tax collector, auditor, planning, Kim Grady's office, elections,
Mhm.
and all of that's paid for. Public works, all of that comes out of the general fund.
Okay.
District attorneys. So when you talk about public safety, you look at sheriff's office, district attorney's office, probation, and believe it or not, public defenders wrapped
Oh
up.
wow.
Okay.
Okay.
And last I had looked, overall, that public safety component is about 63%, which is extremely normal for a county or
Right,
even a
right.
city. That's generally the number one priority responsibility that any county government or city has, is to provide public safety.
Right. Right.
Everything else is a function of government, but that's kind of the number one priority. And generally it's anywhere from the 60 to 70 mark.
Got it.
We've really been trying to, I've really been trying to reduce it as much as I can. Pat Crew and Jeff Brown came to me last year and said, hey, things aren't looking good for the next fiscal year. Can you possibly start making some reductions? I said, guys, people are really the only reductions. We don't have
Yeah.
it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We haven't increased our operating expenses for over a decade
Right.
for the most part. And like you said, inflation's gone up.
Mm-hmm.
But I started looking at a lot of other things a few years ago of how we can make these reductions. And last year we were able to come in a couple percent down. So
That's
we're moving
awesome.
towards the right direction. And this year, not only did I meet the 5% that they asked me,
Wow.
but I actually put in an additional 400,000 to where we're about 7.5%
Wow.
reduction this year.
Wow. Which is incredible. I love that.
Without laying one person off.
Wow.
No, that's awesome.
No, you have some way that you generate income for the sheriff's department. Tell me about that.
So there's a lot of income that comes from the state. There's a little bit of federal stuff, but we collect fees when it comes to like civil CCWs.
Oh, okay.
We increased that a little bit. I still want to make it extremely affordable, and we're one of the lower counties. I implemented, we would tow vehicles. So you get arrested, you commit a crime, you're driving on a suspended license, we tow your car.
Mm-hmm.
We were like one of the few counties that you came to the sheriff's office, we signed it off, you went and got your car. End of story.
Wow.
Some counties were charging up to $300.
Wow.
So I said, start charging them $100.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's
Okay.
crazy.
I went and I talked about this when I first became sheriff with the city of Plymouth. The city of Plymouth was paying for our law enforcement services. They were paying $100,000 a year. They weren't paying that. That's a state grant that came to them, just like Amador City. Didn't come out of their pockets, but they were passing that on to us. Well, between dispatch and a deputy, they were paying for like an eighth of a deputy. And I go, that's unacceptable. I'm subsidizing your city.
Wow.
We need to have a conversation. So that was a 2-year negotiation for us to increase what they pay. And,
Wow.
and do I think it's covering all our costs? Absolutely not. But we started that right direction.
Yeah.
So now, we went from 100,000 to over 300,000.
Wow.
And then at the end of our contract, we'll be at 400,000.
Wow.
So
That's
that's kind of how
awesome.
I generated revenue.
Oh, I love that. That was interesting when I heard you share that on the supervisors meeting. I thought, well, I mean, I was thinking you can only serve so many notices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. Okay. And now things that are being said out there right now during the supervisor race is that let's see, that number one, that you haven't cut costs, right? And that your budget is like that you're not willing to reduce it so that we can pay for roads. Tell me what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, so I have reduced it, and what I've been doing the last couple of years is I'm the only agency that started a grant program manager's position, 2 of them,
Wow.
and we've been so successful. Not only did they cover their own costs, and I knew they would. The people that we hired are really good at writing grants. They've been doing it. They've been surviving off of grants for a long time, so they
Wow.
know how to navigate this
Right.
whole
Yeah.
process, and you
Yeah.
have to be able to do that. So we're tapping into these grants. They're paying for themselves, to the fact we had to hire a third one. Now we're looking at a fourth one with no
Wow.
impact to the general fund. But now we're bringing all this money into where I said,
Yeah.
hey, there's overhead costs associated with these grants. Get me part of that overhead cost. Get my undersheriff. We're the highest earners. Let's
Mhm.
get some of these highest earners. I'm paying for a captain out of the jail half of his salary through a grant.
Wow.
That's how I reduce our footprint on the general fund. It's
Wow.
getting more and more, better and better. We're
Wow.
looking at getting federal funding to hire, deputy positions to where we can't supplant. That's where you take a grant and you basically supplant it, and now you're paying for 2 deputies that already exist.
Oh, got
You
it,
can't
got
do
it.
that.
You have to
You
add.
have to add.
Okay.
New, yeah.
Yeah, but I know I can add and not have to lay those people off
Right.
because I've got casino mitigation money coming. That will
Wow.
cover those positions.
Mhm.
We're just kind of front loading it with the grants for, 3 years.
Wow.
So I'm very excited about that, and it's only going to get better and bigger to where my goal is with the next couple of years to be able to permanently reduce our budget to that 5%.
Mhm.
That's
Because right
awesome.
now, I don't know how long we could sustain this. We were able to do it the first year. I know they're going to probably want it next year.
Mhm.
We're already gearing up for it.
Yeah.
You know what they've always said is when you get money
Yeah.
coming in, right, and you don't use it all, they're just going to take it away anyways,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
but that's the thing too. It's already produced for you guys, right? They already have it allocated.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to use for your
Mhm.
budget, right?
Yeah.
And but don't use it all now. Don't use it all now because we need to use it for something else. So
Yeah.
then where did they over budget somewhere else is what my question is. It's
Yeah.
like, if you're now looking, and I asked, Brian or the district supervisor person,
Yeah.
You're looking through all the budgets and you say, this is the place, the only way I can see money getting taken out of. But where's the other 60% that, of someone overspent or used or
Yeah.
dined down? If you take 1% from all of it, could that have been better? Like, there's got to be a different way from just going for a specific department.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And you're absolutely correct. If you say I have $23.5 million,
Right.
you better plan on me using all that money.
Right.
Right.
And not say, well, we're hoping that we get, $1 million out of you. That way I can fix the roads. I can do this. No, you should have already been budgeting that.
Correct.
You should have already been putting that money in. You've had 20 years, Brian, to work on that.
Yeah.
I've been the
Yeah.
sheriff for 5.
Right.
I'm under sheriff for 3 before that. So
Right.
I don't think Martin Ryan and Gary Redman are the problems why the roads are so screwed up. They've been
Right,
screwed
right.
up for a long
Right,
time.
right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I thought was so interesting is like the city of Sutter Creek, we just interviewed Tom Du Bois, and he said that they even did a tax measure in their city to where they're actually starting to fix roads themselves.
Yeah.
I thought that was super
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
That was really awesome.
We tried to get something, but and I'll be honest, the board of supervisors at the time really didn't promote it. I think
Yeah.
they were a little gun shy to promote it
Mm.
because there is that negative connotation of we
Yes.
pay a lot of taxes. We pay this gas tax. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the gas tax doesn't come back to Amador County.
Right.
It's just a reality of the state of California.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But they really did a poor job of promoting it, and I think they should have done a much better job. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, and one thing, so we interviewed Sheriff Bianco, and that was astounding to listen to what
Very
he
eye-opening.
covers.
That's huge.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's big.
I mean,
time.
for people that are talking about the different people running for governor and that he doesn't have a business, boy howdy he does.
Mhm.
Right? That wasn't it $1 billion budget?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And
That's crazy.
all of the staff and all of the departments and I just thought, law enforcement it's expensive, right? No
And
matter
we-
where you're at.
And we do run it like a business.
Right.
And I hate the fact that you almost get penalized for giving money back, and they're like, well, apparently you didn't need all that money. Every year's
Yeah.
different. Every
Mhm.
year, when I'm down 10 positions, guess what? I'm going to have $1 million in salary savings, if not more.
Right.
And we're able to move some of it around to where, hey, we need ammunition. It went up, so we're going to stockpile some ammunition because we
course.
have $1 million sitting right there. So we'll kind of whittle that down a little bit.
Mhm.
But it's those we need these items.
Mhm.
They're not nicety. I call them niceties.
Right, right,
We don't do anything that's a nicety. It's a necessity.
right,
And
right.
I'll talk about the armored vehicle I just got. That I just saw a flyer come out from Brian's campaign. He voted against it. We discussed it. I tried to educate the board that we have 2 pieces of armor we got free from the military.
Wow.
You were in the military.
Yeah.
Military vehicle works really good in Afghanistan.
Right.
It sucks in civilian law enforcement.
Right.
It was not designed for
Yeah.
that.
Have you ever drove a military vehicle down I-5?
Yeah.
It's the worst ride of your life.
Not
I
fun.
promise.
Not fun. Does it look cool in the parade? Yes.
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 Is
No,
it-
it always does.
Is
yeah.
it practical for law
Mm,
enforcement?
mhm.
Not at all. So I've been trying to get one of these for about the last 10 years. Well, they went from 350,000 to 480,000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm not waiting anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're to the point, and I tried to explain to the board that I'm not going to release some information about these military vehicles, but I can tell you that they're not fit for us anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them back. Well, I have to give them back to the military. It takes 18 months to build this armored vehicle. The armored vehicle is used to protect my deputies
Right.
Yeah.
on the most violent, critical incidents. Search warrants,
Yeah,
high-risk search
You're
warrants.
not pulling it out for the Joe Schmo on a
No.
pullover, right?
And if we have to rescue a family, which I've done,
Yeah.
Wow.
that's what I'm using to
Mhm.
protect the family, to protect people. If I have a
Mhm.
downed officer, any deputy is going to go grab that thing,
Right.
and they're going to go rescue the other deputy,
Right.
or a police officer in the city, or a citizen that's pinned down,
Yeah.
Mm.
active shooter. I
Wow.
mean, it runs the gamut. I, as sheriff, once again, I believe the community expects us to be not only highly trained, highly equipped, and be able to handle any incident that comes out in Amador
Mhm.
County. And I had board members going, well, can you borrow one from another county? That's not how this works.
Yeah, you're like, hey,
I
we
got-
have an
okay,
incident
So now I
happening
have
currently.
to drive 45 minutes to
Yeah.
go get it, and then I'm driving 45
Yeah.
minutes back.
Yeah.
Now I would have to say, in the terms of being in Amador County, let's say on a ballpark number, how many times are you going to be using that type of a vehicle or in those situations?
So typically we use them about a dozen times a year.
Really?
Because we do a lot of high risk warrant stuff.
Okay.
That's typically where it is. But last year we were in Calaveras with the MRAP. Calaveras was in their Bearcat, their armored vehicle made for civilian use. Tuolumne has one. El Dorado has one. Placer County has one. Nevada County has one. There's a reason why they all have one.
Right.
Yeah.
They're made for civilian use. But they were getting shot at.
Wow.
And so it's happened. It's happened.
Well, and I think it's just going to unfortunately get worse.
And of course.
It is. And well, I guess what kind of got me was this does not affect the general fund. I have the money. I've got the money squirreled away, but I'm also looking at grants through the casinos. The Native American grants are really big on public safety right now. I've got a great relationship with all 3 casinos. There's a good possibility I could get part of this paid for or entirely paid for. I have 18 months to figure that out.
Wow.
I explained this to Brian, and he goes, no. So you don't want my deputies to be safe. You don't want the people of Amador County to be safe. That's why I came out and said, Brian, this has been going on for 5 years. You're anti-public safety. Bottom line. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call it what it is.
What is a grant going to do? Okay, maybe I don't know because I'm not a big grant writer, right?
Yeah.
Is there any negative point of having a grant besides using a general fund? Or I mean, general fund's there for the public usage, right? Like it's your guys, right? But the grant doesn't do anything negative by getting it for us.
No.
No, it's money being given to you.
That's what I've always been told.
It's money being given to us for a specific project or specific personnel to do a specific job. Like right now, I'm looking at trying to get a grant for a couple SROs, school resource officers.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's a
wow.
great idea.
Guess what? The high schools aren't in my jurisdiction.
No.
But once again, and I said this at the meeting, I make decisions based on what's in the best interest of Amador County in my office.
I love that.
And if I make decisions that way, I'm probably going to make a few people upset.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think I'm headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
you're
for
thinking
me-
for the high schools?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's a
I have
great
I have
idea.
elementary
I really
schools
do.
in the county, so now we'll have 2 designated deputies. So I increased my deputy ranks, but now I've got 2 full-time SROs that are hitting the high schools, the junior highs, and the elementary schools because we don't have the presence here in Amador County anymore.
Right, right.
We don't.
No,
And
I
for me,
love
that's
that.
extremely important. So it's things like that, and eventually, we'll have the funding to be able to continue that program and not have to lay these people off.
That'll be
Well,
awesome.
one thing that I think is commendable is that when you're being asked to do cuts, you're not like, all right, we're going to trim the fat, right? We're going to get rid of this person and this person and this person and this person, because that would indicate that you have too large of a staff, right? But you don't. You just figure out other ways to be able to pay for them through these grants and different things, or how to add a position knowing that you're going to have money coming in on the other side over here. That's so cool. And it actually says a lot so that we're not having to continue to reduce our force, and then and as a result, keeps us not as safe, right?
Correct.
So I love that that's kind of the avenue that you're taking. That's super awesome.
And it's like you said, it's only getting worse. It's the mandates coming from the state that are only getting, they're piling on. Brian, he talked about it Tuesday about we have 14, what did he call us? Not admin, brass, 14 brass. Okay. We actually have 9, including myself, for over 100 people. When you military, you talk about span and control.
Yeah.
Okay. You only have so much for span and control.
Right.
Otherwise, bad things happen. You've got to keep a lid on it. And that's not saying my deputies or correctional deputies or dispatchers are doing nefarious stuff. That's just how it is when you have a military or 100 people. And I'm like, Brian, you keep wanting me to get rid of my undersheriff, get rid of this captain, get rid of this person. You have no clue how important these positions are. There's a reason why every law enforcement agency in the United States, it's the reason why the military operates this way, is you've got to have people in those leadership positions.
Right.
Oh, totally.
Otherwise, the wheels come off.
Well, they'll start finding out, oh, wait, hold on one second. There was only one person for 100 people.
Yeah.
Well, the 100 people is going to just start revolting and doing whatever they want. And then we really would be the Wild West again.
Yes. Yes. And the administrative duties have gotten, it's just insane.
It's only been adding more and more since the time has been going on, because new stuff happens, new stuff starts getting created, and people are starting, believe it or not, getting a little more crazier. Yeah. Right?
No, they are. We're watching it happen left and right.
Yeah.
It is crazy. So there has been questions out there, I'm sure you've heard them also, that you supported the other candidate besides Brian Onetto, right? So you're supporting Jamie's candidacy.
Correct.
And so there have been questions on what kind of kickback is that going to give you if she's someone that votes for your salary.
Yeah, and oh, I'll say it, that's offensive to me. I think that's extremely offensive because now you're questioning my character.
Right.
When I ran, probably the only issue I had was when people were calling me dishonest or a liar, because the integrity is what I have.
Right.
And that's something that's sacred to me, because in this profession, you lose your integrity, you're gone. I have terminated people for that.
Wow.
So this is what I told Jamie when we first met. I said, I can tell you right now, Jamie, I am going to support you and endorse you because I know you. I would have supported and endorsed her when she first ran, but I was in the middle of a pretty nasty election.
Right. Yeah, that was
And
crazy.
I was like, I don't think it's going to help you. It's probably going to hurt you.
Yeah. Right.
Because I don't even know if I'm going to job.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, that
I
was
may be
crazy.
retiring.
Right.
But this go around, I told her, I said, I can tell you right now, this does not mean you owe me a damn thing. You want to challenge me, you want to question me, you want to go against me, that is 100% your right. And if you don't, I'm going to lose faith in you. And she goes, yeah, absolutely.
You know, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and in our interview with her, I mean, under no circumstances did she make any, allude to anything like that she was planning on giving any kickbacks. I mean, I feel like in our county, though, like you do know the people. It's not like, these big areas where you're just hoping that somewhere you're trying to, which, is the lesser of the two evils. Like, these people, and in your integrity speaks for itself. I mean, I feel like that's why our sheriff's department is so amazing, right? Everybody, you're choosing people who are like you, right? People are being mentored by you. I mean, it's a really great opportunity, and we're grateful for that integrity. But at the end of the day, like there's always that perception, right? And so, but there was not anything in our interview with her that in any way, shape, or form that I felt that was a part of her plan, or or your plan, or anything like that. But it is but they're questions, and so that's like, just like the question. I mean, it's so crazy when we say to people like, hey, we're going to be interviewing, I mean, even just Chad Bianco, hey, we're going to be interviewing these people, do anybody have questions? We'll get questions text to us, and the number one question is COVID. It's the weirdest thing. Like, where did you stand during COVID? So, you'll see that those are, we asked both of the candidates, like, where was your kind of not where did you stand during COVID, but of course, like if it were to happen again.
What would you now do in your reactive or proactive state? And kind of like, what would you follow? Because we know the state came down with a whole slew of stuff. And we know in your guys' seats, if you don't follow the state, you start getting this taken away and this taken away. You almost look like the redheaded stepchild and getting a little pat on the back, right? But that's where it kind of leads into. Right?
Well, and in our community, it gets hit hard. Small communities get hit hard.
Sure.
So that is a question that so many people have. So that's always kind of interesting to me. It does definitely express who someone is and what their thoughts are on that.
Well, that's a good question though too. I don't know if we talked about it in our last interview with you, but on your stance during that time, because you were the sheriff at that time.
For COVID?
For COVID.
I was actually the undersheriff.
You were the undersheriff.
Martin Ryan was the sheriff.
Oh, okay.
But I met with Martin. I said, hey, boss, where are we going with this?
Right.
And Martin, I think, had a great stance. He and I talked about it. We're not going to shut businesses down. We're not the COVID police.
Right.
If people want to wear a mask, they can wear a mask. That is not our job. That's not the function of law enforcement.
Right.
It's a pandemic, but at the same time, we recognize that it's, are some people vulnerable? Yes. If you want to wear a mask, wear your mask. If you're a business and you don't want anybody in your business that's not wearing a mask, that is completely your right. But for law enforcement to get involved, a complete overreach at that point.
Right.
And we got a little pushback from some people.
That was my next question.
We had some people calling, hey, this place is open, they're not wearing masks. Okay.
No, that always cracked me up, though, I'm not gonna lie, that you had people who who were so angry that businesses were open, yet they were at the business with their video camera with it. And I'm like, you didn't have to come.
You have that right. You have
Yeah.
that right.
Right.
If you're vulnerable, I get it. You know, there was a lot of,
Right.
you know, anxiety. There was, you know,
It's the unknown. It's
it-
always the
it
fear of
is,
the
Yeah,
unknown,
it is.
right?
yeah.
I also think the government, especially in California, hyped it up to
Oh,
a
it's
point that it
horrible.
really made people afraid.
Mhm.
It's so bad.
When it wasn't as bad as
Right.
they
Yeah.
made it out
Right.
to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and on the school board, and I've said this multiple times, we were having to vote whether or not we were going to open schools when
Mhm.
school started. And we had 8 cases in the entire county.
Yeah.
8. And we were, and it was, thankfully at that time, it actually was a 3-2 vote to move forward. No, it was a 4-1 vote. And then the board president called the vote to come back, and we had to re-vote on this same thing. And then
Yeah.
there were 22 cases in the county. So of course they had to go hybrid, you know, they had to do the
Yeah.
distance learning to
Yeah.
start school.
Yeah.
But that was such a rough time.
It
I don't
was.
envy your position or mine at that
And
time.
you know, I obviously I feel for the people that did lose
Right, of
loved
course.
ones. You
It was
know,
horrible. It was
it
horrible.
is horrible. But at the same time, as a coroner's office, we were getting pressure to, oh, you need to list this as COVID.
Wow.
COVID doesn't kill you.
Right.
It's everything else
Lot
that
of
comes with
underlying
COVID.
Yeah, that's
factors,
right.
yeah.
It's an underlying factor, but
Mhm.
you know, the actual cause of death. You know, I'm not a medical doctor. That's why we have our medical examiners, you know,
Mhm.
do that.
Mhm.
We just you know, find manner.
Yeah.
That's our job.
Right. No, it was very crazy. Well,
Yeah.
we are very grateful for you being here and kind of setting the record straight. Is there anything that you wanted to share that we haven't gone over?
Yeah. So what's being said is, you know, we talked about my salary. That yeah, I'm 400 and something thousand. I'm expensive. I wish I made that much. That's what I cost the county. I'm probably one of the cheaper sheriffs in the state of California.
I bet.
I wear 3 hats. I'm the sheriff, coroner, OES director. Counties, there are counties where those are 3 different positions. So take that 400 and something and add an additional 500,000 onto it.
Wow.
That's what they're costing counties. So I told somebody I'm a bargain. If you look at it that way.
Right?
He means telling his wife.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a bargain.
I'm a
yeah,
bargain.
right?
She's like, stop talking, Gary.
Yeah.
There's been this thing about my excessive spending. Okay. You know, everything we do goes through a process. I don't buy anything that is a, you know, nicety. It's a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
I have bought some big ticket items, the armored vehicle.
Mhm.
You know, I built a warehouse. That warehouse really goes back to evidence storage and processing. Extremely important aspect of our job, so we can have solid cases, chain of custody. There's so much that goes into it that I knew. I was like, okay, we need to fix this. I need to fix this. But at the same time, I was like, we ran out of storage. We have it all. We've got equipment all over the county. We don't have a gym for our folks. I'm into working out. I'm into keeping fit. That's our job. Our
It is.
Right.
our lives depend on it, and the
Yes.
community's lives depend on it.
Yes.
If you have somebody that can't defend themselves, they get their gun taken away. Guess what?
Right.
Bad things
Among
happen.
other things, yeah.
We don't have a classroom. We can't host classes here. I can save money if I host classes. I can bring in instructors,
Right.
charge other agencies, host classes. We don't have that. We don't have a mat. We don't have a mat training room. We use Cal Fires. So I carved out sections of that in the 2 warehouses. I built a state-of-the-art gym for my folks, open 24/7. They get an hour. They get an hour on duty. That hour is dependent on the supervisor. If they're busy, they don't get it.
Yeah.
If there's some downtime, one person will go. Then maybe somebody else will go.
Mm.
They're available. The radio's on. We've got a telephone there. If they have to go, they go. That has been better than a raise of retaining and keeping
Right,
people there.
right.
But guess what? That costs some money. All
Yeah.
that money did not come from the general fund.
Mm.
I used asset forfeiture. I used what's called rule crimes. Rule crimes we get from the state of California. Is it taxpayer money? Yes, it is. But I think I used it for an extremely good purpose.
Right,
Right.
right.
Infrastructure upgrades. Radio reception is horrible.
Oh my gosh, I never thought of that.
We haven't released this, but our portable radios that we have are not commercial radios. They're actually just some like Motorola.
Amazon.
No
They're-
way.
They're Motorola, like non-commercial. They don't work great. Well, portable radios are so important. So I went to the Harris, the Buena Vista tribe,
Yeah.
and I said, "What can you do for me?"
Mm-hmm.
They bought us Kenwood radios, state of the art,
Wow.
$250,000.
Wow.
You're
They
kidding.
just
Wow.
saved the county because I was going to buy them.
Right,
Yeah.
That's
right.
how important it
Well,
Yeah.
is.
communication is
Oh
a
my
necessity,
gosh, yes.
a
And now-
necessity, right?
Now I'm looking because we need about $6 to $8 million to fix, really to upgrade our radios, and
Mm.
we're not finding it through grants. So we can keep it running, but now I'm looking at Starlink.
Oh, right, right.
Mariposa County, Alpine County have
Wow. On the vehicles?
on the vehicles.
I
Every
love
every
that.
vehicle outfitted with a Starlink will get rid of our AT&T card. So
Oh,
it's kind of a
saves so
one
Moving
for
much.
money here,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now they have internet, cellular calling off the internet,
they
and we can
do.
connect to the radios.
Nice.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that. Okay,
Yeah.
is it going to be an upfront cost? Absolutely, but
Yeah.
I can tap into rule crimes, asset forfeiture. I'll find the money. That's
Which
not
in
going to
our
impact the
area,
general fund.
that's so huge. I mean,
Huge.
there's
Oh, yeah.
such a lack of service in this area to be able to call or radio or internet or anything. That is so smart. I love that.
Yeah, you gotta embrace technology.
Right.
You
Well,
really
Yeah,
do.
we're
yeah.
in that direction.
We
right?
are, but
Yeah.
it costs money.
Yeah.
It does.
Um,
It does,
just-
but I
yeah.
think it's a little, and what's cool though is now that we've seen technology for as long as we have, it's starting to come down a little bit. You know, it's not as crazy. So like Starlink is, we actually just recently got Starlink for, we have Comcast at home, but for Starlink for us to take to go do whatever we do on the road
Yeah.
or in houses, and it's so much fun. My mini is coming. I think it's supposed to be here
I've
tomorrow.
got a mini,
Right.
and my wife and I, we go out to plazas every year
Right.
with our,
Oh, right,
with our
right.
fifth wheel, and I just throw up the mini.
Yes,
It's good and bad because I
Yeah.
still work.
right.
But
Right.
but at the
That's the
same
problem.
but at the same time, I want to be connected with the
Right.
office.
Yeah.
That way, if something
Right.
bad happens, I need to know about it.
Right.
That way, I can get down and do whatever I need to do. So it is important to me. But we love our mini.
I know. I'm so excited to get mine. It's really, and that's so smart though. I think that a lot of police and sheriffs are doing that, right? They're connecting Starlink to their vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah.
We already have one for our offices of emergency services. We've used it on some fires and stuff, and it's just been, back in my day we had these big
Yeah.
satellite radios,
Yes.
and half the time it would drop your call,
Mhm.
and it was ridiculous.
Oh
But
my gosh.
now they just fire up the mini and off they go. Instant internet.
Oh, that's
One
awesome.
thing that I love, and you've shared it so many times, is how supportive our community is,
Huge.
and how they do step up. I mean, I know the Jackson Rancheria has done it time and time and time
Yes.
again. I mean, everybody has an amazing story on that, and Harris, I love hearing that. That is so awesome, and I mean, we know that that's going to come from Acorn Ridge, right? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
they're
That's what
they're
I'm
new
saying.
and just
I was about to
getting
say,
there.
well, like he goes over like, well, Harris just paid this. What are you guys gonna do?
What are
All
you
right.
guys gonna do?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Maybe I'll put your name on a vehicle, right? No, it's so awesome though, and
Yeah.
I think that it says so much about our community, but it also says a lot about you guys. I mean, you guys do a great job, and if you had this huge budget,
Mhm.
you know that there are places that do have a huge budget and their force is crap, like they're not doing anything, and we don't have that. So we're super grateful for you. There was another thing that I remember hearing. That was about your officers driving their vehicles home. So $200,000 vehicles that they're driving home outside of the county, and the wear and tear on those vehicles.
Yes. So that's been a very contentious item between Supervisor Onaneto and I. He doesn't like the fact that our all of our staff, not all of our staff, it's our deputies, it's the administrative, our detectives, the jail's not included, dispatch isn't included, front office is included. They get take-home vehicles. We started this during COVID, and then we found out how positive it was and what a recruitment and retention. But what we also found out is we actually now have more deputies out on the road.
Oh, right, right.
We've got overlap. Not all of them live out of county. It's a little less than 50% that
Oh,
actually,
okay.
because we've been hiring so many locals.
Right,
You
right.
have. I
Which is
love
great.
that.
It's great.
Yes.
I've been pushing for locals and
It's awesome.
and veterans.
Yes.
So now we've got people that can respond immediately
Mm-hmm.
to emergencies, to the Snowmageddon again this year, the fires, anything we have, a tactical incident. We get that immediate response. They don't have to come in, go get a car, try to load it up. They just go. And a lot of the deputies share a car, so it's not assigned to one deputy.
Right.
Oh, got it.
The sergeants share a car. Admin's a little different. We all have our own vehicles because we have so much equipment, and we're on call 24/7.
Right, right.
That's why we're salary.
Right.
When you become a lieutenant, and above, you're salary.
Yeah.
And I tell them, you can work as much overtime as you want.
Yeah, it'll be coming in your next check.
Yeah, you're like, it's expected.
So what we found is they're actually finding stuff on their way home, DUIs, they're making arrests, they're finding their stuff on the way in, but then hot calls are coming out, they're going to back their other deputies, they're handling stuff. So it's this huge public safety aspect of we're more efficient, we're a faster response time, we're protecting the community. Why would I stop that? When I look at, I spent $216,000 on fuel last year. I'm going to conservatively estimate kind of high. Maybe 20 of that was for fuel for take-home vehicles. So one deputy cost me $55,000 to put through the academy.
Wow.
To train them is another $100,000. So $155,000. I have that deputy leave because they can go to El Dorado or somewhere else where they do have all these other programs. Guess what? I call it amateur math.
Wow.
Not a good thing to do.
Wow, that's crazy. So the retention makes more sense. We've lost Garrett.
I'll be back, I promise.
He's cracking me up.
Yeah. So it's that recruitment and retention, and Supervisor Oneto and I have gone round and round to where I finally said, I get what you're saying. Okay, I get that, but you have to look at it from my perspective. And I'm the elected sheriff. I was elected by the people of Amador County to keep this agency moving forward from what Martin Ryan did, bring us in the 21st century, keep people here, retain and recruit them, provide the best possible service. Now you're talking about an operational aspect of my office.
Right.
You have no authority, no ability to interject yourself into my operations. 34 years of experience of running a police agency in executive level positions, leadership classes at the FBI National Academy. Don't tell me that you think you can run this agency better than me, because you can't.
Well, and that is why you're elected.
Stay out of my office.
Yeah.
If the
out of the lane, right?
If the people don't like it, then don't vote for me. I'm good with that.
Right. Well, and one thing I love, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, because there's so many things that people just don't know. I would have never thought about that with officers taking their or deputies taking their cars home. It does make so much sense that they would be so available, so way more readily available.
Way more. So detectives, what they used to have to do is they'd get called out. We would have a rape, and that victim would be down in Sacramento at the hospital. They would have to drive all the way to our office. Some of them lived out of county.
Wow.
Drive to our office, grab a vehicle, make sure they had all their equipment, and then drive to Sacramento when they lived in Lodi.
Wow.
Okay, super efficient. But we're paying them the entire time.
Right.
Once they get called out, as soon as the phone rings, the clock starts.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, you don't understand how the operations run.
Right.
I'm trying to educate you, but it came to the point where I'm like you said, stay in your lane.
Yeah. No, well, and it is, I mean, there's something to that. Like, there's a reason why you're hired to do what you do, right? I mean, there's a reason that you were elected, and that not just anyone can get that position. I mean, you do have to have some skills. You got to be the right person for the job. Like you said, you had a crazy race on that campaign was crazy, and a lot of people wanting this job, right?
Yeah.
So no, well, that's really awesome. And so I think we've covered everything that I had thought, like anything that I'd heard. And that was the whole reason we wanted you to come sit down with us, because we wanted to be able to get the myth bust, right?
Yeah.
All the misinformation that's out there.
Yeah. It's Amador County loves rumors.
That's
Small towns, right?
Small
Yeah,
towns. I think they made a country song about that, actually.
Yeah, I think they did.
I think they made a lot of them.
There's a
yeah.
rumor going around.
The misinformation and it's a little frustrating at times, but
Right.
I understand politics. I'm
Right.
not a really good politician.
Yeah, no,
I'll
me
be
either.
honest.
Yeah, no.
I'm a cop. I'm an operational
There
guy.
you go.
Right. Well, and that's one of the reasons that we wanted to have you, because we think a lot of times people just hear something and then they take it
Well,
as
they
the
run with
gospel
it,
truth.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, and we wanted to make sure that we could actually put the truth out there. So if anybody has any questions on any of the information that they've heard, here's where the truth is, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
That's awesome. Well,
Very much appreciated.
no,
both of you.
we so appreciate you. And if there's anything in the future that you need to get out, you hit us up.
Absolutely.
But thank you very much. We appreciate you, Gary.
Thank you.
Yeah. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official stance of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services or Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Divine Properties, or any affiliated entities. This podcast does not constitute legal, financial, or real estate advice, and listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals regarding their specific needs. While we strive to provide accurate information, we make no guarantees regarding the completeness or reliability of any information discussed. We are not responsible for any actions taken by listeners based on the content of this podcast. Additionally, topics covered in the podcast are based on the host's experience and opinions and may not apply to all situations. Listeners are reminded that real estate laws and regulations may vary by location, and information may become outdated over time. By listening to this podcast, you agree to release the host, guests, and any associated entities from any liability related to the topics discussed.